logistic systems. So 5 minutes is not usual day.
There. Great. Representable. More or less. Kind of social media.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. I met him yesterday.
Smaller.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Just quickly. These people.
Yeah.
They are the biggest friends.
Yeah.
These guys are amazing.
President Zelensky, the ministers are a little bit late, so we have to wait for another 5 or 10 minutes. Excuse me very much.
Just two remarks, and then I give the floor to you.
No.
Very good that you're here today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you can.
So, hello everybody, welcome again, and first and above all, dear President Zelensky, Mikhailo, Dan, Mark, my friends, let me welcome you to the 35th meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, together with my new British counterpart, Dan. We are honored that you, Mr. President, joined the UDCG once again, and I'd like to give you the floor first, Mr. President. Please.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, dear Minister. First of all, I want to thank all of you, all the defense ministers and all the defense leaders here today, Secretary General Rutte, Minister Pistorius, and with us today, as Minister said already, the new UK Defense Secretary Jarvis. And it's good to see you, and I wish you success in your new role. Some of you, dear friends, I remember from the very first days of this war. Some ministers have changed over time, but what matters and what has never changed is our determination, our cooperation, and our support for one another. You always look for ways to help, and you find them, and because of you, thousands and thousands of lives have been saved. Dear friends, thank you, and I'm glad that this format remains as active as it needs to be. Thank you so much. It's important that we are meeting right after such a strong G7 summit in France, and we had good meetings and talks with all the leaders, including President Trump. The President of the United States is very clear about increasing pressure on Russia to end this terrible war Russia has brought against Ukraine and all of Europe. And this is also the shared position of all G7 leaders. We are grateful for this unity. We have the tools, and they are strong enough to put Russia on a path where diplomacy becomes the only choice. We all see that Putin is now relying on one lasting thing, constant missile attacks. And he has ballistic missiles, so we need anti-ballistic capabilities. And we have done a lot to defend against drones, and our interception rate is about 90%. That is a serious, very serious achievement. We are also defending against cruise missiles, but Russian ballistic missiles remain a problem, and we need an answer to that problem. So today, Ukraine and Germany are taking very important, I think, important joint step. We have some technologies, Germany has some technologies, and today our defense ministers signed already an agreement to bring these capabilities together. In Ukraine, we have a company that is capable of producing ballistic missiles. Firepoint is moving toward this. And you have the capable companies as well. We have discussed this many times at the leaders level. There will be meeting at the NSA level, and we have already had meetings at the CEL level. So let us do this for our common defense as quickly as possible. And we invite all countries to contribute to these common efforts as much as possible. Our anti-ballistic coalition, all the countries that are part of it, must demonstrate full capability and deliver real results. Better this year. By this winter, we should already see concrete outcomes from our joint work on anti-ballistic defense. This is something we all need, not only Ukraine, and it is a long-term effort. Please support it at every level and in every possible way. I thank all of you who support our work through the Pearl program. Thanks, Mark, for your personal involvement. Thank you very much. Right now, it is making a real difference alongside all of our bilateral cooperation. Sometimes these delivers make the difference literally day by day. When we know that Russia is preparing a massive strike against Ukraine, and we are able to receive Patriot missiles the day before that attack, it helps save lives. So timing matters. And I know that some countries have already prepared decisions on new contributions on Pearl, and I'm very grateful for these. Please, let us implement these decisions as quickly as possible. And we have heard that some countries would like to announce their contributions to Pearl at the summit in Ankara this year, but that is still several weeks away. Let us make these important decisions here at this meeting so that we can deliver the weapons needed for protection. Russia attacks Ukraine day. So please do not postpone, even by a single day, what can be done through Pearl today. And dear friends, you have probably all seen how Russia struck the Kiev Pechersk-Lavra with drones. And it's one of the most important Christian holy sites, not only in our region, but for the entire Christian world. It was from the Lavra and the hills of Kiev that Christianity spread eastward across our part of Europe. Attacking such places is, in fact, a crime against humanity. Of course, we are preparing our responses to such Russian attacks. And today you can see one of those responses in the Moscow region this morning. So our long-range sanctions are hitting Russian oil facilities, refineries very, very effectively. And Russia is already facing fuel shortages, and that federal budget revenues are falling significantly. And at the same time, our mid-range strikes are seriously disrupting Russian military logistics. But Putin is not stopping this war. He insists on continuing it, so the pressure must grow. Every project supporting Ukrainian drones and our weapons production in Ukraine, and together, of course, with you, with partners, and every sanctions measure against Russia for this war, all of it must grow. And of course, we are ready to share our experience more actively. Already within our drone deal format, 15 NATO countries and 12 non-NATO countries are involved. These are different regions of the world, and we need to be active everywhere. Let us use today's meeting to discuss at the team level what is needed to speed up this work. Everyone can see that Ukrainians are strong, and I'm grateful to all your service members and to everyone at the political level and to everyone in your defense ministers who treats Ukraine and Ukrainian soldiers with respect. And more than once, I have heard that it is not only Ukraine that needs the support of Europe and all other countries represented here and in our other coalitions. You also need Ukraine. This is true and it matters. Everyone is interested in Ukraine's experience, in what we can do and in how we are holding back Russian aggression. Now, at the military level, we work closely together, but too often, including within NATO structures, our representatives feel that there is a limit to what is possible in our cooperation. These limits both us and you. Let us integrate more at every level of our defense cooperation, in our structures and in the alliance, so that both we and you have more opportunities to protect lives. Please, let us prepare strong decisions and stronger cooperation for the summit in Ankara so that the political level of our partnership matches reality. People can see that Ukraine is with you, and we should also see that you recognize it. Dear friends, yesterday I raised two urgent issues with Mark, and the first is the number of unmanned ground vehicles. The second is long-range artillery ammunition. Right now, there is not enough of either. We need both urgently. The funding being allocated for this is not enough. The quantities Europe is producing are not enough. What the Ukrainian army is receiving is not enough. But we can increase all of this, the capacity there. Right now, Russia is paying for continuing this war with losses of at least 30,000 soldiers every month on the front line, killed and seriously wounded. And this number will grow as we improve our ability to stop Russian attacks. All types of drones are showing strong results, and our infantry and other units are fighting effectively and bravely. And it is important to keep supporting this. Today, the Ukrainian army is effectively the main army in Europe that can deter and resist large-scale aggression over a long period of time. And after this war, this must remain the case. The existence of such an army should help prevent any future aggressive moves by Putin. That is why we need to start thinking now about how to provide the funding the Ukrainian army will need in the years ahead. I thank the European Union for the 90 billion euro support package, which will help a lot, it's true. And I also thank all of you for your bilateral support decisions, but also ask you to develop the necessary financial instruments for the years ahead to ensure the Ukrainian army remains strong enough. This would make European defense much stronger, and it would benefit all of you. If we want Europe to have the strongest army, one that can truly respond to any threat, this is only possible with long-term cooperation with Ukraine and long-term support for the Ukrainian army. This is a realistic new security architecture for us, for Europe. Let us start thinking about this now. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for your huge support from me, from our people, from our soldiers. Slava Ukraini. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, dear Volodymyr. Thank you for all of that. And I can affirm you that the Ukrainian people, that our support for Ukraine is unwavering. Before I begin, I have 2 points to make. In the first place, we have 2 members around the table who have birthday today. Kaya Kallas and Dylan, where is she? From Netherlands? Dylan?
Behind the photograph.
Behind the photographs. Twice a birthday at the UDCG. We never had that before, so congratulations to both of you. And before I begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation for John Healey. John was not only an outstanding Secretary of Defense and a strong supporter of Ukraine, he has also been a true ally and friend to me and my country. Together, we did not hesitate to take responsibility when the UDCG needed new leadership. I can say it has been and is a privilege to lead the UDCG together with the United Kingdom, and I'm looking forward to continue and intensify this lead with you, Dan. Welcome here. Our colleagues from Denmark, Hungary, and Latvia are also new to our group. Jeppe, Romulus, and Ravis, we are happy to welcome you to your first UDCG meeting here in Brussels. I'm also honored to welcome Bahrain for attending the UDCG for the first time. Mikhailo, during the last UDCG in April, first signs had already begun to emerge. Now they are becoming increasingly obvious. While Russia's offensive is faltering, your troops are maintaining their momentum on the battlefield. What Ukraine is doing in bringing the war to where it came from is really impressive. And this is no coincidence. The UDCG support has been instrumental. Germany supported Ukraine's new campaign plan from the very beginning and contributed comprehensively to building up significant capabilities. We will keep doing that. Your consistent expansion and digitally networked mass employment of UAVs has accelerated reconnaissance, target acquisition, and effects processes through database decision-making. This is particularly true for mid-strike capabilities and the establishment of drone assault regiments. Last month, when visiting the command posts near Zaporizhia and Dnipro at your invitation, Mikhail, thank you for that, I was able to see that for myself, and I was deeply impressed. I was deeply impressed by the great professionalism of Ukraine's soldiers and by their innovative warfare tactics. And I'm convinced that this type of warfare will be groundbreaking for us in many ways. We must learn from Ukraine. Our partnership is no longer a one-way street and hasn't been for a long time. Mikhailo and I signed an agreement today that will pave the way for the joint development of a new air defense system to counter ballistic missiles, if industry can come to an understanding. Several German enterprises are interested in this project. It can make an important contribution to security in Europe and Ukraine. My friends, this UDCG meeting is taking place at a critical point of time. Putin has reached a dead end. His illegal attack on Ukraine continues to cause enormous losses among his troops. The Kremlin can no longer hide the negative effects of this war against Ukraine. Its implications are increasingly felt by the Russian population. President Zelensky has reached out and offered direct talks to get the stalling negotiations back on track. But the Kremlin prefers further escalation to talking. This escalation is directly mostly against Ukraine, but also against our NATO partners on the eastern flank. This is Putin's desperate attempt to distract from his failures on the battlefield. We must not let this throw us off course. Our support for Ukraine is working, and we must continue it with determination. This is the only way that Ukraine can maintain and further expand its momentum on the battlefield. And we must coordinate our support in order to pool resources. This is what today's UDCG meeting will be about. Thank you all for your contributions and for your support, and Slava Ukraini.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Boris. Mr. President, Secretary General, esteemed colleagues, it's an honour and a privilege to be here with you today, and an honour to be joined by President Zelensky. I'd like, if I may, just to say a few words about my predecessor, John Healey, because John and Boris assumed the co-leadership of this group at a difficult moment and guided it through a period of escalating Russian aggression with sure judgment. Under their stewardship, UDCG members collectively raised more than 80 billion to support Ukraine's forces in their vital fight for freedom. While there has been a change of leadership at UK defence, there is no change in our policy. We will stand with Ukraine today, tomorrow, and for as long as it takes. I see the UDCG as fundamental to that commitment. Our task is to keep Ukraine strong enough to protect itself from Putin's relentless onslaught, strong enough to confront the Russian war machine on the front line, and strong enough to secure a just and lasting peace. Minister Fedorov has made it clear throughout the year what his people need to make that happen. Air defence systems, 155mm extended range ammunition, and Ukrainian drones. Our job now as UDCG members is to make sure that they get them and get them quickly. So what we're asking for today is £1 billion for 2 Pearl packages, another £1 billion for 200,000 extended range 155mm rounds, 650 million to fund 100 critical Patriot missiles via Jumpstart, and a further £1 billion for 1 million Ukraine drones. On that last request, I have agreed with Minister Fedorov that the United Kingdom will provide 150,000 Ukrainian-made drones, as well as more than 350 air defence missiles and radars, all of which will be delivered by the end of the year as part of a package worth £752 million, funded by the sale of seized Russian assets through the ERA loan programme. We now have a limited window of opportunity. Ukraine's forces are fighting with incredible determination and momentum. They are counting on us to help keep them going. We cannot and will not let them down. Thank you, and Slava Ukraini.
Mark.
Yeah, dear Boris, dear Dan, Dear Boris, dear Dan, thank you for convening now the 35th meeting of the JUDCD. Volodymyr, Michailo, great that you're here. Thank you for joining us in NATO headquarters. And Dan, particularly welcome to you as the new Defense Secretary. I can only completely subscribe to what you and Boris said about John and his role, John Healey, having been so important. But great that you're here and taking over. The battlefield initiative, indeed, you were mentioning it, Boris, is shifting in Ukraine's favor. And this is in part due to your impressive leadership, both of you, Volodymyr, Michailo, but it's also because of the continued support of Ukraine's partners here. And I think now is the time for us to get behind this momentum. There is a momentum, we have to ensure Ukraine has the capabilities, it needs to continue to defend itself. Ukraine has now repeatedly demonstrated that it is not only a recipient of support, but a contributor. And it is ready to assist nations facing similar threats elsewhere, as you've shown in all your travels, Volodymyr, also in the Middle East. So for our part, when we say that a strong, independent Ukraine is vital for the stability of the Euro-Atlantic area, we need to ensure that we do everything we can to back these words up. Political support needs to be underpinned by concrete military and practical support. I'm deeply grateful to all nations here who have been steadfast in their commitment to support Ukraine. However, collectively, we have to do more, and we also have to distribute our share more equally. In the run-up to the Ankara summit, we will work on the ways to ensure that our support is adequate, predictable, and sustainable. I urge you all to ensure that your nations bid their donations against Ukraine's top 3 priorities. You heard them: air defense, Ukrainian drones, and extended range ammunition. A detailed package of specific projects is in front of you. I'm looking forward to your new pledges at our meeting today, including to Pearl. Indeed, as the President said, this remains so important for Ukraine's defense. It's essential so that Ukraine can meet its objectives still this year and to capitalize on its current battlefield momentum and success. So let's be there with them. I really sense that we are getting a new momentum going here, and let's be there with you. Thank you.
So if I'm correct, Under-Secretary Colby should be on the screen now.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you very much, Minister Pistorius and Secretary Jarvis, for convening this important group once again. I would like to start out by recognizing and expressing our appreciation to Secretary General Rutte for hosting this week's important defense ministerial and for his continued visionary leadership. It is also a privilege to follow President Zelensky. Allow me to express our admiration for his country's brave and stout self-defense. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beginning of last year, this administration has contended that Europe could and would take the leading role in providing for its conventional defense, including by providing the great bulk of support for Ukraine, and that such an approach would be consistent with a viable Ukrainian defense. We regard this policy as having been borne out. First, in the past year, European allies have taken the leading role in supporting Ukraine's defense, assuming the responsibility for the financial support of Ukraine, as well as providing their own arms to Ukraine. At the same time, we have been prepared to provide weaponry purchased by Europe for Ukraine's defense through President Trump's Pearl Initiative, which we've discussed already today, and allies have contributed significantly to this signature example of practical, results-oriented transatlantic cooperation. Second, that transition of support to Europe has not only been implemented, it has been correlated with a sustained, effective defense by Ukraine. Indeed, without engaging in hyperbole, in recent months we have reason to think Ukraine's situation has even improved. This is critical. Europe not only can take more responsibility for its own defense, that assumption of responsibility can be consistent with a strong and stout European defense if Europe meets the needs of the moment, as we have just heard how important that is. In the war, Ukraine has managed to hold the front line and even improve its position in some places, continuing to lay the groundwork for a lasting peace built on Russia's understanding that perpetuating this war is not only condemnable, but also will not pay off for Moscow. This provides a critical underpinning for the peace that we, under President Trump's visionary leadership, are seeking. Let us not lose sight of the task before us, though. Much has been done, but far more remains. Ukraine's defense does hold, but continued and sustained support from allies is essential to maintain it. It is important that NATO allies continue and indeed increase their support for Ukraine's defense through the Pearl Initiative. This will help to ensure that key materiel continues to reach the Ukrainian front line, enabling Ukraine's forces to deny further Russian advances. The denial of defense approach has proven effective thus far. Maintaining and strengthening it will be important in the weeks and months ahead. We also intend to continue supporting mechanisms that facilitate European support to Ukraine. While Pearl enables immediate battlefield requirements, Europe must also be prepared to resource Ukraine's persistent needs through new procurement. Through the Jumpstart mechanism, we are enabling allies and partners to leverage the scale of the U.S. defense industrial base to secure critical, exquisite capabilities for Ukraine, such as air defense interceptors. We in the United States hear time and again how vital Ukraine's defense is for Europe and for our allies. President Trump has been very clear that we have heeded that, but that our allies must back words with actions. This is an opportunity for Europe to do precisely that, and in the process help to set and strengthen the conditions for lasting peace in Ukraine that the previous speakers have already laid out as our shared goal. In doing so, Europe can show what an ally-led defense of Europe looks like, what it is capable of, in the process strengthening Europe's continental defense and deterrence on a lasting basis, and providing the very strong underpinnings for NATO 3.0. Europe has shown it is capable of fortifying Ukraine. This is the moment to capitalize on early successes and press ahead. The decision is now before you to take advantage of it, as President Trump has called on NATO to do and as Secretary Hegseth laid out earlier today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellencies, and we will now turn to the closed sessions of the UDCG, and it's my understanding that we'll give the presidential delegation the chance to depart first, and then followed by the press. Maybe.